Two Trailer Trucker presents how to string up a set of doubles. Today we'll be stringing up a set of doubles here in Lexington, Kentucky. If you watched the previous video to this, you'll see that we broke apart this set and the dolly has already been pre-positioned in front of the rear pup that we'll be using. A couple of things to keep in mind. First is to do this safely. Take your time. Don't expect to get this done in half an hour on your first trip. Just take your time and everything will work out fine, and most importantly, you'll have done it safely. Now we're going to back up the tractor and the lead trailer to the dolly. And as you can see, I'm watching my mirror there. And to get the pintle hook centered with the dolly, one thing to keep in mind is when you're going down the road, you'll notice one axle that you never do see, and that is the dolly axle. So you want to position your trailer to where you cannot see the dolly. By doing that, you're pretty well centered and require very minimal adjustment on your part. As you can see the rear tire there, so I'm off just a little bit. So I'm going to pull up, try to get everything straight. And there's nothing wrong with getting out and look. If you're uncertain of how you're positioned, get out, look it over, see what you have to do, get back in. There's nothing wrong with being safety conscious and getting an eyeball on it. Now see, we're getting positioned here. And we're backing up slowly. And as you can see, I can just barely see that tire over there on that side, on the right side. There it goes. And over here, I can just barely see it on that side, so we're positioned pretty good. And we back up just a little bit more. And during all this, I make sure I have my radios turned off so I can hear everything that's going on around me. And so we backing up just a little bit more, getting ready to go out and take a look at it. Always set your brakes when getting out of the truck. Now I'm walking back to see how close I am to the dolly from the pintle hook, and I'm not really that close to it or far from it, but I really don't want to risk any injury. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and let the tractor do all the work and move it back just that few inches. Sometimes that few inches can be the difference between getting injured and having a good day. So I'll let the tractor do all the work. Releasing my brakes and pushing the dolly and the trailer back just a few inches to get it lined up a little more closely. And there we go. We always set our brakes whenever we're getting out of the truck. Now I'm walking back, and whenever I walk back, I'm always checking lights and anything else, or listening for things. And as you can see, we're lined up right on it. Cool. Okay, now I'm going to start lowering the dolly onto the pintle hook on the lead trailer. So, lowering it down. Now, don't expect to get this kind of alignment on your first try. You know, it takes lots of practice, and you will get plenty of that. So the important thing is to take your time and make sure that you don't get hurt. So I go over here, and you can't see it in this frame here, but I've also closing the lid to the pintle hook. That way the dolly cannot fall off of there. And you can see it's secured there. and the dolly is firmly on the hook, and everything looks good there. And if you'll notice there, I've got the flashlight out, making sure there's no gap between the pintle hook, making sure everything is secure. You want absolutely no gap between the hook and the trailer. Any kind of gap, then you want to look at it twice, make sure you have everything done right. And also I've hooked up my chains, which we'll see here in a second. There you go, see the chains are hooked up to the lead trailer. Now what I'm doing is I'm making sure that the airlines and the pigtail that go to the rear trailer cannot get damaged when I'm pushing the dolly back underneath the rear trailer, so I get them out of the way. Then go back into the tractor using a 3-point stance. Get back into the tractor. And again, make sure your radio is off. You don't have any kind of noise around you. And when you push it back, and you don't have to do it very hard, you'll hear the fifth wheel click into the rear trailer's kingpin. And you may notice when you get underneath it, your rear trailer may move a little bit. If you don't feel comfortable with that, set your brakes, get out, look, make sure that your fifth wheel and your kingpin are in alignment. Now, I know I'm hooked up. I gave it a slight tug to make sure it was. Set my brakes. Now I'm walking back. And even though I know I'm hooked up, I'm still going to take a look at it. So, get a flashlight. Yes, the arm is in all the way in, and the bolt on the front of the fifth wheel is retracted. So I know I'm secure there, but there's also another way to know. Get underneath the trailer and take a look and make sure that the jaws of the fifth wheel are wrapped around the kingpin. Now that I know that's firmly secured, now I'll raise up the legs on the rear trailer, which I am doing right now. And while I do that, you notice my head moving around a little bit. I'm always checking things, always seeing things. So now that the legs are up, make sure that once you do get your legs up, make sure that your crank is secured. Just don't leave it lying flopping around. Now I'll go over and I'll start hooking up my airlines. So you can see. Make sure that the dummy glad hands are secured in the compartment there off to the side. You don't want to leave them outside dangling. Okay, that's connected now. Now I'll plug in my pigtail into the the lead trailer. And when you do this, make sure that the cap is fully secured to the pigtail. And now I'll do the same thing over here. Plug in the pigtail. Make sure that the cap is firmly on top of it, so that way it can't fall out. By not doing that little step, when you go down the road and you notice you don't have any lights on your rear trailer, that's where it's usually from. You did not secure your pigtail to that socket. Got my lines hooked up now. Go through. Now I'm also moving the valve, closing the valve on the dolly, so that when I do apply air, everything will be inside the where it's supposed to go instead of leaking out. I'm checking all my lines, making sure they're all secure, make sure the pigtails are secure, chain secure. Okay, we're good. Now go back into the tractor and release the air to the trailer. Leaving the tractor brakes on, releasing the air to the trailer. And usually at this time, if you have any air leaks, you will hear it. So always go up, check the tractor's connections to the lead trailer, make sure you have no leaks there. Then go back and make sure you have no air leaks. Now there's a ram inside the dolly that will force the a ram that will secure itself against the pintle hook. Make sure that is secure against the pintle hook, so that way there is no slack in your dolly. Okay, the fifth wheel's adjusted, have no leaks going from the dolly to the rear trailer. Making sure that my kingpin and fifth wheel are still connected. Walking back. Make sure my lights are good. Everything's flashing real good. Making sure I have no air leaks from the rear of the rear trailer. Now I have it empty, so I'm always going to make sure that the trailer is empty. Open it up, take a look at it. If you find the door too hard to open, just leave it closed. Do not try to force something open that you can't. That's how you'll injure your shoulder or back. Now I'm checking, making sure I've got the right trailer numbers. Of course, I've already checked this out, but checking out 2 or 3 times does not hurt. Again, checking all the lights, checking tires, making sure all my connections are good. And it looks like we've done a pretty good job. Again, making sure I've got the right number on the lead trailer, making sure I got the right number on the rear trailer as was dispatched. And that is how you string up a set of doubles. Thank you for watching and listening, and more importantly, be safe out there.